that we do have. All right. Okay, so welcome to everyone to the Privacy Exchange Community Show and Tell series with our very special guest, Amber Chavez. Amber is a privacy and regulatory attorney whose career spans government to technology and ethical AI governance, and now she works with Optery, which we'll learn about a little bit more. She has prosecuted privacy violations and done consumer protection law at federal and local levels. And she's also built privacy programs leading incident response for identity and cybersecurity companies. Now she's at Optery, making privacy both principled and practical. For anyone who's tried to opt out of data brokers, you know what we are talking about. It is not easy. So today she is the General Counsel and VP of Legal at Optery, where she directs all legal, compliance, and risk mitigation functions for the company, which deals with managing people's exposure of their personal data on the open web. So in the next 25 minutes, here's how we'll spend our time. Amber and I will have a one-on-one chat for about 10 to 15 minutes. That session will be recorded, and then we will turn off the recording and open it to audience Q&A. As a reminder, before we get started, today's session is for general informational purposes only and is not legal advice. So if you need legal advice, contact your own attorney. We are not it. Okay. All right. With that, let's dive in. Okay, Amber, if you would please walk us through your career path at a high level, because I know you have a very interesting background, and then tell us what you do at Optery now.
Sure. And thank you, Mary and Ryan, and in the Privacy Exchange community for having me join you today. I'm really excited to be here. In summary, I'm a consumer protection professional through and through. You could say I got my start in privacy around, let's say, the early 2000s. I was in undergrad studying organic chemistry, as lawyers do. And after realizing I wasn't going to be a doctor or work in a lab, my career counselor told me to try something wildly different. And I found myself working in tech for a newly minted, first of its kind role called the Chief Privacy Officer. And that summer kicked off my journey to law school and really brought me in this kind of circular moment. But since that time, my career has spanned almost the entire privacy landscape, including regulatory enforcement at the FTC and as a deputy DA in California, product and regulatory counseling, AI governance, building global privacy programs, and incident response, like you said. So, having seen the consequences and the data ecosystem and data misuse from regulatory, corporate, and enforcement sides, and just a variety of different angles at different size companies, I realized that there is really a need for a truly proactive solution. And that really drew me to Optery, where I'm now, general counsel for a company where privacy is the product.
That's amazing to hear, and so cool that you've spanned so many different types of roles over the last 20 some years there. Okay, so now you're at Optery. What does Optery do and what problems do you solve and for whom?
Yeah. So Optery is a privacy tech company that helps anyone with a digital footprint take control and have agency over what personal information they share and with whom. And because I am a consumer protection attorney, I always go back to informed consent, right? So you want to be informed of what personal information is out there so you can make an informed decision about what you want to share, for what reasons, with who. So Optery solves for the problem of rampant data publishing and sharing online and behind the scenes, which is frankly now being accelerated by AI and other emerging technologies. And because in the US, we don't have a standardized, fully comprehensive federal privacy law, the states have taken measures into their own hands, and there isn't necessarily a prescriptive process, a one size fits all, find out my information, find my information, delete my information process. So this leaves consumers really vulnerable to having their personal information exposed in ways that they have no idea. Like when you create an account with a company to buy discount movie tickets or travel, you know you have a login, you have a password, they send you an email, you probably get annual updates that they've changed their privacy policy. But there are a lot of companies out there that you would never know actually had your data and are moving it around and selling it to various other companies with whom you don't have a relationship. So with Optery, we help consumers manage that digital footprint, including by automating a lot of the opt-out and deletion requests under various state privacy laws from a lot of different types of data broker websites and registries.
Great to hear. Yes, I've done this by myself in the past, and it is very hard. And I now also have some services like this. It's just such a mess to try to untangle yourself. So great service to have. Okay, so Amber, your company just released a data broker directory document. What is it, who it is for, and what were you hoping people would do with that document?
The Data Broker Directory is currently the largest open source repository on GitHub that shines a light on a certain segment of the data broker industry, which I referenced earlier, broken down by the type of data broker, the type of information that they possess, and the process for exercising opt-outs. This was a natural extension of the opt-out guides Optery already had published on our website and within our mobile app, but it was generally be available, mostly to our customers who were searching our websites or who were creating accounts to find out where their exposures were. And because we have a team of researchers and, privacy agents who are constantly updating this list and researching the data brokers, we wanted to make our research more widely available to people who are a wider audience than just our customers. So this could include people like journalists who are studying or reporting on the data ecosystem and data broker industry, uh, privacy and security researchers, educators, maybe, hopefully, who are trying to teach, children and students about privacy and digital footprint management. We hope that people will use it to get a better sense of how to manage their own threat model, how to manage their digital footprint, but also really how vastly expansive it is, and to give them a little bit of a leg up in case they want to try to find a quick resource to exercise their rights. And if nothing else, we hope people will use it to see that Optery provides services that can help them if they're feeling a little overwhelmed. It's a pretty expansive list of more than 640 data brokers. So if you sign up with Optery, you can get a free exposure scan to see which of those lists you're on. So you don't waste time kind of emailing data brokers who don't have information about you. And then you can make an accurate assessment of what you want to do with that information.
Amazing. Thank you for putting together that resource. I know it's hard to grab all of those different resources across all the number of states. Some make it easy, some do not. I think that your list might be growing by a lot of companies in the next year or so. So we will stay tuned on how your directory develops. I'm curious, from the list you have today, what trends or things did you notice across the list that surprised you the most?
Yeah. So in compiling the list, I think I said there were over 640 data brokers on it. When you see it all put together in that format, it becomes very clear that it's a vast ecosystem. And again, we're only doing this for mostly companies where consumers don't have a direct relationship, where there isn't a login and password, where there isn't someone emailing you to let you know that they're using your information. Um, so it becomes very clear that it's sort of I guess 2 points. Maybe the labor of privacy is very big in some instances, and it's only being accelerated by emerging technologies. So what I mean by that is, you can see the number of companies, you can see there is no standard opt out. They may have different information. There's not really a quick and easy way to find out who has information on you. But also because we have this team of live privacy and security researchers who are constantly checking, testing, finding those forms, learning about those processes, learning about different companies. And we have customers who are reporting to us, finding their information in new locations. This is a living, breathing document. And so I've been surprised at how quickly it's growing too. With AI, there are new um, I guess you could call them, maybe a new-ish category where we would have data enrichment services AI business development, right, is growing and just gobbling up a lot of data that's being scraped from the internet. So it really just shines a light on how big the ecosystem is, that it continues to grow, and that there are just constantly new data brokers who are popping up because of AI and emerging technology. In the past, if you think about it, right, marketing lists and such, people were manually curating those. Maybe they were bringing them from one company to another, adding a little bit here and there. But it's so much faster and so much easier for new companies to continue to pop up, some of whom maybe don't know yet that they're regulated and will probably find out given the current regulatory enforcement environment. But it has been really surprising how that list just continues to grow.
I'm going to give you and your team a lot of kudos because it does require an immense amount of manual work to test all those policies. I've done some of that myself, and it's not super straightforward. So just even the management of what you've done to put together that list is pretty remarkable. So thank you. I will say one thing that really caught my eye about your list was that there was a column that said like mentions family on the one tab. And I think that's just for me, I just want to highlight that when people say like, oh, I don't care about privacy or whatever, like your list actually shows when these data brokers invoke your family members or show family ties. So that might be something interesting and important to talk about when you're gathering with family and your friends this holiday season. I'm going to skip to my last question and before we open it up to audience Q&A. And my last question for you, Amber, is what are you most interested work-wise in the year ahead?
Yeah, I'm excited to see more states coming online with their privacy laws so that Optery can be even more effective and provide more impact to consumers in those states. I'm excited to see the regulators really beefing up where they're going with data broker enforcement. And we have seen some data brokers fly under the radar, but states are really ratcheting up. So I'm excited to see how that will play into the private sector and hopefully get more data brokers to comply with our requests. But also, I'm excited to be back in the sort of on the same side as a lot of my former colleagues and peers in consumer protection and privacy enforcement, and to potentially help work on the advocacy and education side of helping expand the laws and inform the regulators of what is happening in the private sector with authorized agents, with the challenges of compliance and opt-out and deletion rights, so we can kind of maximize and truly give consumers the control over their digital footprint that we're hoping to.
Well, so glad to hear that you're on this side again. And, for what it's worth, because there's a lot of data purchases by governments, it's the line between private and public data is really blurred. So, thank you for your work. We're going to go ahead and turn off the recording now, so that